you. First, thank you for the invitation. Very proud to represent the SFA here. And first of all, I have a huge disclosure because I'm a biceps killer. So this slide is kind of therapy for me. First of all, you have to consider the biceps anatomy when you consider doing tenodesis or tenotomy, because it depends where you're going to assess the different lesions, whether they are intra-articular or extra-articular. You have to assess the biceps stability and the bicipital groove, the transverse ligament, the different pulley, anterior and posterior, the coracohumeral ligament, and the superior glenohumeral ligament. And you have to completely assess those structures. And the assessment of the biceps pre-op can very easily done by ultrasound. It's simple, very easy, and it can be done by surgeons. You can assess it by MRI, but not for biceps alone. Arthro-CT or arthro-MRI will better assess the proximal superior labrum. And here you see on the left side ultrasound views, and you see the biceps is subluxated out of the groove, and you can easily, as a surgeon, have those images and very quickly assess the bicep in the rotator interval. Here you see on an MRI the position of the biceps, which is quite a little subluxated. How does the biceps work? Because if you have to cut it, you have to know what are the consequences, potential consequences of your procedure. Is it a dynamic shoulder stabilizer? No. Static stabilizer of the shoulder, maybe, because when you move your arm, maybe the biceps has a role to play in a static way. What's for sure, it's a strong forearm supinator, so you will have a loss of supination strength when cutting it. Even when with tenodesis, it's a weak elbow flexor. And that for sure you can tell your patient. What's the biceps tendinopathy? The major part of the patients you have to treat are degenerative patients with a rotator cuff. That's the most frequent patient you will treat. Secondary most frequently repetitive gesture, like people making a lot of sports, overhead sports, or manual workers. Primary tendinopathy is very rare. So, shall I do a tenodesis? So, I will preserve the anatomy and lesser the Popeye sign. I will have a better strength in the elbow in supination. Maybe I'll have less cramping, and I can do it all arthroscopic. It can be done without any implant. On the other hand, sometimes if I choose a technique, I probably will need anchors or screws, so it will be not so cost effective. It will be technically more demanding, time consuming. It doesn't prevent from the Popeye sign, and there are many studies saying that you can have a Popeye sign by 5 to 20% of the cases, and it doesn't always treat hidden lesion of the biceps in the bicipital groove. And it can provide persistent pain because of the screws in the groove, even under the groove when you do a sub-pec tenodesis. So here are the work of Jean, who compared the different techniques of tenodesis from interference screw to keyhole tenodesis. And with his metallic marker, he showed that you can still have Popeye sign or rupture even if you do tenodesis. And he had 3.4% of radiologic rupture and 2.3 Popeye signs. Even though they were not symptomatic, you have to be aware that tenodesis doesn't provide you 100% from the rupture. You can do a tenodesis in the groove. These are some views of pathologic biceps, and here you are in the front and putting interference screws from into the groove, which is here open. And the second hand, so shall I do a tenotomy? It's easy, it's cheap, it's very quick. There's no specific rehabilitation. I forgot to mention that when you do a tenodesis, you have to be aware that flexion on force is not recommended during about 1 month. It can be done all arthroscopic, of course. And on the other hand, tenotomy doesn't also treat hidden lesions which are in the groove. It can provide biceps cramping by the Popeye sign, which is more frequent than in tenodesis, and you can see that you can have it in 3 to 63% of the cases, and it can provide loss of strength in the elbow, especially in supination, and patients have to be aware of that. Oh. So as you see, doesn't take you long to make a tenotomy, and you understand why French people are biceps killers. If you see the literature, you don't find a lot of studies comparing tenotomy to tenodesis, because there are so many different techniques for doing a tenodesis that it's not so comparable. So here you have meta-analysis of 12 studies, 6 for rotator cuff repair with tenotomy and 9 with rotator cuff with tenodesis. And it shows that there's no statistical difference in the rates of postoperative bicep cramping, and in no statistical difference in patient satisfaction between either of the techniques. But you can see that there's a higher rate of deformity after tenotomy, of course, as compared with the tenodesis, although it's not clinically comparable. The patients are not so disturbed by that. Here are some French works about the Popeye sign, and here's the works by Philippe Collin, who looked at the frequency of the Popeye sign for 37 rotator cuff repair with a tenotomy. He had 15% of Popeye sign, but this Popeye sign wasn't associated with either pain or this is it, pain or bicipital cramp or discomfort. And the constant score was better in the motion subscore for the tenotomy. So he tells us that tenotomy gave a better range of motion in the subscore with the patient with the Popeye sign. Tenodesis, another study made by the Sofcott, patient who had normal biceps with no adjuvant procedure had similar constant score. And for patients with biceps pathology, tenodesis seemed to render a better constant score than tenotomy. Philippe Claver, he made a study between tenotomy and 50 tenodesis, and he made a T tenotomy, which is a kind of tenodesis, because he hopes that the biceps will stay in the at the beginning, like the bicipital groove. He had the same rates of Popeye sign between the two groups, the same strength, but the pain was higher with the tenodesis, which he did with a lasso loop at the beginning of the groove. So what I can tell you is what it shouldn't be done. You shouldn't leave the intra-articular portion of the biceps alone after a tenodesis, that's for sure. You shouldn't fix the biceps outside of the bicipital sleeve or its mechanical axis. And it's not good to stretch the biceps by doing a tenodesis. So you have to be aware to fix your biceps in elbow extension and in supination, or leave it in place, but do not stretch the biceps. And the take-home message would be biceps tenodesis or tenotomy tend to have a satisfactory result when used appropriately. And probably it's simpler to perform a tenotomy for less demanding patient, for age, work, or sports, and it's probably better to perform a tenodesis for small arm and aesthetic preoccupation and people having a lot of sport activities. And the Popeye sign isn't, the majority of the cases is asymptomatic and doesn't impair the clinical result for rotator cuff. Thank you.